You wanna go so you can see them better?
Yamori is just a lonely orphan who struggles with the concept of love. He soon stops going to school and starts playing games at home all day. But one night he meets a hot vampire girl who sucked his all blood. But to his surprise, she tells him he needs to fall for her to become a vampire, and now he has ended up clapping her entire vampire group.
I really appreciate it.
It all starts when Yamori begins slipping out of his house at night because, guys, he has no girlfriend. Just like some of you. No matter how hard he tries. One night, while walking around the empty streets, he stops at a vending machine to grab a beer, hoping it'll help him relax. But just as he's about to take it, this weird and loud girl named Nazuna suddenly appears and makes fun of him for wanting a drink. She's wild, unpredictable, and seems like every kind of trouble mixed together. Feeling awkward, Yamori tries to leave, but Nazuna grabs him and stops him. Just like my girlfriend, who is grabbing my joystick so hard.
Stop it. Get some help.
She quickly figures out that he can't sleep and offers to help him. Yamori is totally confused and happy, because his freaky mind thinks he is going to see a new kitty, and decides to follow her anyway to see what she means. While they walk together, Nazuna starts talking about how people stay up late, because they're not happy with their lonely life and how their day went. To show what she means, she points at a few drunk guys sitting on the roadside, sound asleep. She laughs and says they're sleeping so well because they had fun. One of them even talks in his sleep about some fun with 3 girls, which you can't in your whole life.
Emotional, damn it!
Nazuna then gives the drunk guys a high five like it's no big deal and keeps walking. Yamori just watches her, wondering why she acts so wild around strangers. She tells him to stop worrying so much and just enjoy himself. So, taking her advice, Yamori grins, gives one of the drunk guys a sneaky high five, and then walks off after her, still unsure what to think of this crazy girl. After one drunk guy almost decorates Yamori's shoes with his dinner, he decides it's safer to hang out at Nazuna's place for a bit. Still, the thought of being alone with her makes him feel like he just stepped into a freaky anime. Once they get there, Yamori's soul is nearly left the body when Nazuna take down all the guards, and she just spawned as a OnlyFans girl.
Oh my god!
Things go from awkward to bro what when she casually tells him to hop into bed with her. Completely panicking, Yamori's brain shuts off while his all blood decides to go only at one place. Nazuna grabs him again and says to sleep with her. Even though lying beside her feels way too good, Yamori keeps himself on guard. He's not trying to wake up as a father of 69 babies. A few quiet minutes later, Nazuna notices he's completely still and assumes he's asleep. She grins, leans closer, and bites his neck for a midnight snack. But the moment she tastes his blood, she blushes like crazy. Apparently, he tastes way better than she expected for a guy who looks like he runs on instant noodles. Suddenly, Yamori wakes up, sees red juice dripping down his neck, and realizes something sketchy just happened. Nazuna quickly blurts out that a giant mosquito bit him. But Yamori notices the red stains on her lips and doesn't buy it. When he asks if she's a vampire, Nazuna admits it. He panics, thinking he'll turn into one too. But she calmly explains that's not how it works. Drinking blood doesn't make someone a vampire, and she's not interested in making any vampire kids anyway. Curious about the whole situation, Yamori asks why he didn't turn into a vampire after being bitten. Nazuna explains that it only happens if he starts a clapping session with her.
What? I don't believe it!
Sorry guys, I mean if he falls in love with her. Saying that makes her blush instantly, just like you who checks out your crush every time. Especially since she's standing there in a tight outfit. Tell in the comments what would rate her outfit, but she cools off after sipping a beer outside. Once she's calmer, she explains that if someone who's truly in love with a vampire gets bitten, they become that vampire's child. To make him understand better, she awkwardly compares it to how babies are made. But guys, my mom told me a fairy came to give her a baby.
What?
But guys, I have a question for all of you. On that night, who was my father busy with?
You didn't have to cut me off!
Yamori groans and tells her to stop being so weird. He admits he doesn't really understand what love is, and that he doesn't even like girls, which makes Nazuna tease him by asking if he's into guys instead.
Why are you gay?
That moment brings back a memory for Yamori. He remembers rejecting a girl once and being called an idiot for it. He didn't mean to hurt her feelings. He just didn't understand what it meant to like someone, just like your crush, who is still don't understand your love. Feeling bad about it, he eventually dropped out of school. After hearing everything, Nazuna tells him to keep coming out at night and enjoy it instead of wasting his time feeling guilty. While thinking about her words, Yamori suddenly blurts out that he wants to become a vampire. Nazuna is shocked because she knows it's impossible unless he falls for her first. But Yamori doesn't care, he just wants to live freely, escape boredom, and enjoy the night, even if it means catching feelings for her. In the end, Nazuna agrees, but only because it means she gets to keep drinking his blood. Later that night, she randomly tosses him off a rooftop for the experience, then catches him just before he can kiss the ground. She grins and flies him through the air, so he can see how amazing the night sky really looks. The following night, Yamori sneaks out again to meet up with Nazuna. As they chat under the night sky, she suddenly brings up the idea of making a useless baby vampire. Yamori almost chokes on air, but before he can react, Nazuna blushes when he says he's serious about falling in love with her and becoming a vampire. Things get even more awkward when Yamori tilts his head and exposes his neck, practically begging her to bite him, the vampire version of shooting your shot. Nazuna gets flustered for a second but quickly snaps out of it, drinks a bit of his blood, and admits he tastes surprisingly good. The next day, Yamori wanders around, hoping to see her again but eventually gives up, realizing that no matter how much she feeds on him, it won't turn him into a vampire yet. Just when he's about to head home, Nazuna suddenly appears out of nowhere. Yamori gets annoyed and scolds her for disappearing all night. She casually shrugs it off, saying she was just out looking for some random bad boy to snack on. That instantly makes Yamori jealous, and he calls her a thirsty girl. Just like my girlfriend, Nazuna just laughs it off and says, "Well, yeah, I was thirsty," adding that feeding on someone else isn't really a big deal to her. Yamori isn't too happy about Nazuna's casual attitude to him. Clapped by dude sounds way too close to cheating. What the heck, bro, this is cheating. Wanting to keep her attention on him, he asks for her Insta, only to find out she doesn't even own a phone. Instead, Nazuna drags him back to her apartment and proudly shows off a dusty old landline that looks like it belongs in a museum. She explains she doesn't like modern phones because they're too small and complicated, and honestly, she doesn't think she needs one anyway. Right after that, she jumps onto her bed like it's bedtime already. When Yamori asks why, she casually says she's tired from hanging out with so many guys that night. That line hits him hard. He tries to play it cool, but it clearly bothers him. Things get even more awkward when Nazuna tells him to come lie down with her. Even though he's not in love with her yet, the thought of her being close to other people makes him feel jealous, so he refuses to let her feed on him. Nazuna just shrugs and dozes off, reminding him that he was the one who said she could feed whenever she wanted. Yamori mutters that she can just drink from someone else if she's that thirsty. That's when she realizes he's jealous. With a soft smile, she admits she wasn't actually with anyone else, she was out all night looking for him. She just made up that story because she was too embarrassed to say it. Feeling bad, she apologizes and tells him she'll make it up to him. But before she can say anything more, she bites his neck again, drinks a little, and immediately falls asleep beside him. Yamori just lies there, blushing and overthinking everything that happened, and also his joystick is now on. The next day, he sets out across the city, determined to find her before nightfall, so she'll have no reason to disappear or sleep early again. After wandering around for hours, Yamori finally stops to catch his breath, and right on cue, Nazuna appears, saying she was also out looking for him. Ignoring how suspicious that sounds, Yamori pulls out a pair of wristwatch transceivers so they can talk to each other from a distance. Nazuna instantly gets excited like a kid, seeing a new toy, and says she wants to try it out. But when she notices Yamori's serious face, she asks why he even has them. He explains that he bought them when he was younger, hoping to use them with friends. Nazuna immediately fires back, reminding him a bit too bluntly that he doesn't have any. Annoyed, Yamori says he used to have friends back in school. He tells her that years ago, he placed one of the watches inside a mailbox, hoping some random person would find it and talk to him through it. But no one ever did. When he went back later, the watch was gone, yet no one ever contacted him. So he kept the other one tucked away in his drawer, waiting for a call that never came, just like your ex guys. Hearing this, Nazuna bursts out laughing, not because she's mean, but because the story is so bittersweet and so Yamori. She stops giggling only when he suggests they actually use the watches now. So they split up, talking through the transceivers as they walk under the night sky. Yamori loves the feeling. It's simple but makes him feel connected to her. Nazuna, meanwhile, blushes when he says it feels like they're in a relationship. Yamori secretly wishes he can fall in love with her soon, while Nazuna is just thinking about getting another taste of his blood later. Eventually, they meet up again, and Nazuna takes him flying over the city once more. This time, she lands at his old school, teasing him before biting into his neck again. The mix of nostalgia, adrenaline, and Nazuna's bite leaves Yamori completely dazed, and maybe, just maybe, a little 30 seconds clapping session. On his way home later that night, Yamori glances at his old wristwatch and wonders whatever happened to its missing pair. Just then, he hears a small beep. When he turns around, he's stunned to see Akira, a girl from his school, standing there. Since it's still super early, she asks what he's doing out so late, but Yamori just stands there, frozen, unsure what to say. Before this moment, he had once talked with Nazuna about why he didn't have any friends. The question had completely thrown him off, mostly because he didn't even know what being friends really meant. Nazuna had teased him for being a ugly, lonely, disgusting loser, but he'd argued that he did have friends as a kid. He just didn't feel right calling someone a friend when he hadn't spoken to them in years. Now, facing Akira, Yamori is surprised when she shows him the other transceiver. She explains that he was the one who gave it to her. She reminds him that they were always in different classes, and she regrets not talking to him more back then. Apparently, she waited for years for him to contact her using the watch, but when he never did, she eventually stored it away. The only reason she tried calling him now was because she noticed he stopped coming to school and wanted to check if he was okay. Yamori just stares at her, confused and silent. He swears he never gave it to her until Akira mentions she actually found it in her mailbox. That's when it hits him, and he smacks his forehead, realizing she must have been the one who discovered the watch he left there as a kid. Akira smiles and says she's just glad he's safe, adding that they've been friends all along after all. He gave her that watch. Yamori starts to worry that she might be misunderstanding things. As a kid, he wasn't exactly social, while other kids were out playing games. He'd sit alone watching ants crawl by. But Akira didn't mind. She'd often sit beside him, quietly joining in his little ant observation club. Thinking back on it now, Yamori feels a pang of guilt for not keeping in touch. As they talk, he finally asks why she's in her school uniform this early. Akira laughs and says she's an early riser, she likes taking morning walks before class. When she asks what he's been up to, Yamori just shrugs and says, just heading home, not wanting to admit that his nights are way stranger than they used to be. Before heading off, Akira asks Yamori if they can meet again tomorrow at the same time, and he happily agrees. Later that night, he calls a half-asleep Nazuna to tell her about running into Akira, but she just mumbles a lazy good night and hangs up. A few days pass, and one early morning, Yamori gets up quietly to leave again. Nazuna catches him, sneaking out, and teases him for heading out so early every day. She jokes that he's free to do whatever since their relationship is more like friends with benefits anyway. When Yamori pretends not to care, Nazuna grins and playfully accuses him of meeting another woman. His flustered reaction says it all, and she instantly realizes she's right. Panicking, Yamori tries to explain himself but ends up tripping over his words and running out the door. Later, while he's hanging out with Akira, he suddenly spots Nazuna lurking nearby like a vampire-shaped jump scare. Freaking out, he yells in fear, expecting her to attack him, but Nazuna just laughs and mocks him for having a secret date behind her back. Surprisingly, she seems chill about it and even tells Akira she's got nothing to worry about. Akira, however, doesn't buy it. She glares at Nazuna and blames her for being the reason Yamori dropped out of school, assuming he did it because of her. To clear things up, Nazuna bluntly states that their relationship is strictly physical, nothing emotional. Then, to prove her point in the most dramatic way possible, she bites Yamori right in front of Akira. Akira freezes, realizing in shock that Nazuna is actually a vampire. The tension finally cools when the three of them sit down at a nearby restaurant to talk it out. Nazuna orders a beer like it's nothing, while Yamori and Akira quietly sip their coffee, trying to process what just happened. Akira wastes no time getting straight to the point, asking Yamori what's really going on between him and Nazuna. She starts by questioning why he stopped going to school. Before Yamori can answer, Nazuna cuts in, saying school's pointless and boring. Akira immediately glares at her and calls her out, telling her to keep quiet and stop acting like a troublemaker. Gathering his courage, Yamori finally opens up. He admits that he stopped going to school because it just didn't feel fun or meaningful anymore. Akira agrees that school can be dull sometimes, but insists that's not a reason to give up completely. She pleads with him to come back, saying that school always felt better whenever he was around. Her words leave Yamori speechless, unsure how to respond, while Nazuna quietly watches the whole exchange, starting to take an interest in Akira. After introducing herself, Nazuna asks Akira if she's truly Yamori's friend. When Akira confidently says yes, Nazuna immediately asks why she never checked in on him all this time. Without waiting for an answer, she stands up and walks away. Yamori, sensing that she's upset, chases after her. When he finally catches up, Nazuna denies being mad, but when he keeps pressing, she snaps and calls him a clueless idiot before flying off into the night. Hours later, after searching for her with no luck, Yamori gives up and uses his wristwatch to reach out. He apologizes and says he doesn't know what he did wrong, guessing it might be because he met Akira secretly. Nazuna replies that it's fine for him to have friends, but he begs her to tell him what really upset her. Moments later, Nazuna appears right in front of him. She calmly explains that she wasn't angry about Akira. She was hurt because he didn't say anything when Akira asked him to return to school. Realizing her reason, Yamori explains that he didn't respond because he couldn't tell Akira about his dream of becoming a vampire. Hearing this makes Nazuna relax. Then, noticing a bit of leftover blood on his lips, she leans in, gives him a kiss, which you cannot have an entire life, and smiles before flying off, saying lightly, "That's what friends do, right?" The next morning, Akira sits alone in class, half listening to her teacher go on about how humans need enough sleep to stay healthy. After school, she goes home, takes a quick shower, and falls asleep the moment she hits her bed. That's how her quiet day ends. I don't know, guy, her plots are that kind of bouncy. Meanwhile, Yamori's day begins when the sun goes down. He sneaks out once again to find Nazuna. This time, he spots her easily, sitting out in the open, which feels a bit strange. Not ready to face her just yet, he decides to walk around for a bit. But no matter where he goes, he can't stop thinking about the kiss they shared. Because begin a V-card holder, guys. He really thinks a kiss can that be good. When he sees a couple kissing nearby, it hits him. Kisses usually mean love. Suddenly, he wonders if he's actually in love with Nazuna and gets excited, thinking he might finally be one step closer to becoming a vampire. Soon, Nazuna appears and asks what took him so long, saying she waited in the open just so he could find her easily. Instead of explaining, Yamori just smiles, tilts his head, and offers his neck, asking her to bite him. The move catches her off guard, making her heartbeat quicken, but she quickly takes the chance and feeds on him. After she's done, Yamori checks himself and realizes nothing changed. Nazuna calmly explains that he's not in love yet. What he's feeling is just attraction, not real love, guys, which I called him the pervy sage.
You're nothing but a lousy little pervert!
Hearing that crushes his excitement as he realizes he got carried away by the kiss. Nazuna, teasing as always, suggests they try kissing again to make sure, but Yamori backs off, saying he doesn't want to fall for her tricks and end up doing something stupid. Thinking she's experienced, he accuses her of being too flirty, only to find out that it was actually her first kiss too. The revelation leaves Yamori speechless and more confused than ever about what he truly feels. Around midnight, Akira wakes up and can't fall back asleep, so she decides to get ready for school early. While walking, she runs into Yamori and is surprised to see him out so late. Realizing he's probably going to meet Nazuna again, she tells him to get some rest because staying up all night isn't good for him. But Yamori ignores her advice and instead invites her to hang out with them. An hour later, Yamori is completely wiped out after losing to Nazuna over and over in a video game. Akira just sits nearby, quietly watching the two of them mess around. When the match ends, Nazuna grins and challenges Akira to play, joking that if she loses, she'll give her a kiss. Akira immediately refuses, but she gets annoyed when she realizes Yamori would have gotten a kiss if he had won. Turning to him, she says she'll always support whoever he likes, just not Nazuna, who she calls a reckless troublemaker. Nazuna laughs and says Yamori doesn't even like her like that. To prove it, she brings out a dating simulation game and makes him play. Akira watches closely, noticing that Yamori likes confident girls but also finds shy ones cute. Seeing how he acts around Nazuna, she feels relieved, realizing their relationship might not be what she thought. By 4 a.m., Nazuna yawns and says they should all take a nap. Yamori saves his game to play later. Akira is shocked when she finds out he's been sleeping at Nazuna's place all this time. While he tries to explain, Nazuna makes things worse by joking that he'll be sleeping between two girls tonight. Do you know, guys, this means? If you know, fill the comments section.
What do you mean by that?
she places him in the middle, but Akira gets embarrassed and decides to leave for school early. Before she can go, Yamori tells her it's not safe to walk out alone, and Nazuna adds that it's raining and she doesn't even have an umbrella. Then, just to tease Akira even more, Nazuna leans over and bites Yamori's neck again. Akira, shocked, asks why she keeps doing that. Nazuna simply smiles and says it's because his blood tastes amazing, and besides, he's the one who wants her to keep drinking it. Even after hearing Nazuna's answer, Akira still isn't convinced, so she keeps asking what's really going on between them. That's when Yamori finally admits that he wants to become a vampire. Akira is shocked, saying he should already be one since Nazuna has bitten him more than once. As Yamori explains that it only works if he falls in love with her. Nazuna blushes like crazy and quickly rolls over, saying they should just sleep. While lying down, Yamori quietly apologizes to Akira for dragging her into this whole mess. He tells her he just wanted to be honest, so she wouldn't worry about him. Akira smiles and says she's fine with it, telling him to stop being so stiff and relax. She gently reminds him that touching her shoulder won't kill him and that he should just try to sleep. The two end up having a calm, late-night talk, where Akira promises she'll still be his friend even after he becomes a vampire. She even jokes that she'll drag him to school again someday, since even vampires need to learn stuff. Meanwhile, Yamori can't help but glance at her skirt and wonders how it somehow manages to ride up on its own.
Yeah, boy.
A few minutes later, both of them fall asleep. When Akira wakes up, she realizes she's overslept and panics, rushing off to school. As she's leaving, Nazuna teases her, saying she probably slept so well because she was too satisfied. Deep down, Akira knows she's kind of right. Later that day, Nazuna wakes up grumpy because it's still bright outside. To kill time, she starts playing video games. But after losing a ranked match, she remembers she had a package coming and realizes she completely missed the delivery while sleeping. Annoyed, she decides to head out to a convenience store. But on the way, she stops to play with a stray cat. A few meows later, she regrets it immediately because the cat reeks. Grossed out, she heads to a public bath to clean up. Before going in, she leaves her wristwatch with the receptionist, asking him to check if it still works since Yamori hasn't called her in a while. After her shower, she gets irritated seeing no reflection in the mirror, one of the downsides of being a vampire. But before she can overthink it, her wristwatch suddenly beeps, snapping her out of it. Stepping outside, she runs into Yamori, who's stunned to see her looking completely different. Her hair is down, and her outfit is short enough to make his brain shut down. He tries to stay calm, but his mind and 3-inch joystick is part of civil war.
Damn!
Nazuna notices right away and teases him, telling him he should probably cool off with a shower. While in the public bath, Yamori can't stop thinking about how hot Nazuna looked. The more time he spends with her, the more confusing his emotions become. After getting dressed, he spots her again, and his thoughts spiral right back to her to the point where he doesn't even register what she's saying once they step outside. He only snaps out of it when she suddenly appears right in front of him, making his heart race even faster. Without thinking, he asks her to bite him again. Nazuna doesn't hesitate for a second and goes straight for it. But this time, Yamori isn't just doing it for the thrill. He wants to know if the feeling he gets when she drinks his blood is actually love or something else. Nazuna, being hungrier than usual, drinks more than she should. Even though it hurts, Yamori can't help but feel something deeper, a strange mix of pain, calmness, and excitement. When she finally stops, he takes a shaky breath and points toward a nearby spot where they can rest, only to realize it's a love hotel, making the moment way more awkward than he intended. Nazuna is too happy. I don't know why. Tell me in the comments.
We must stay focused, brothers. We must stay focused.
Nazuna doesn't mind being in the love hotel at all. In fact, she seems to enjoy the idea, teasing that it's the perfect place for things to get a little wild. Meanwhile, Yamori is struggling hard to control himself, trying not to give in to the thoughts running through his head. Seeing right through him, Nazuna calls him out, saying she already knows what he was thinking earlier when she drank his blood. Yamori admits that he doesn't like getting intimate with someone he considers a friend, but Nazuna laughs it off, telling him it's normal to have those thoughts sometimes. She admits she's looking forward to feeding on him again because his emotions taste different every time, and honestly, he tasted amazing before. After that, Nazuna puts on a dramatic movie at full volume just to annoy the people in the next room, though she grumbles about having to pay for it first. Later, while they're hanging out, Yamori remembers her calling him yummy and suddenly starts feeling insecure. wondering if that means she's bitten other people too. Noticing the look on his face, Nazuna casually points at a random guy nearby and says she's fed on him before, completely shocking Yamori. Realizing he doesn't want to hear about other people she's bitten, Nazuna smirks and says, "Relax, I've bitten girls too, but now, you're the only one." 10. The Zops came to Instade. Curious, Yamori asks how she used to feed before they met. With zero hesitation, Nazuna admits that she used to lure people in by pretending to offer naughty services, leaving Yamori completely speechless. Back at her place, Nazuna changes into her nurse-like outfit and explains that she used to work as a professional cuddler, and sometimes things went a bit further. Yamori is shocked and quickly looks at her service list, then nervously says he just wants a massage. Nazuna grins, jumps on top of him, and starts right away. Halfway through, Yamori feels awkward as his body reacts on its own, but he keeps telling himself it's nothing weird. When Nazuna leans close to his neck, he realizes she used to bite her clients while they were relaxed or asleep. The air gets tense, and things start feeling more intimate between them. Before anything else happens, the doorbell rings. Nazuna sighs and sees it's one of her old customers named Kiyosumi. Since she's tired from massaging Yamori, she tells him to handle it. A few minutes later, Kiyosumi comes in and asks for a massage. Yamori goes to tell Nazuna, but finds her playing video games. Annoyed, he scolds her for lying about being tired. Nazuna laughs and tries to convince him to massage Kiyosumi instead, teasing him for fun. When Yamori refuses, she admits she's broke and used to make money from clapping sessions. Kiyosumi then explains that she works in an office, but doesn't get along with the men there since they treat her like an object. She hates going for drinks with them after work and prefers to stay late at the office. Because of all that stress, she comes to Nazuna's place now and then for a massage to relax. In some of her past sessions, Kiyosumi even cried from how relaxing Nazuna's massages felt. But this time, she feels strange being attended to by a guy. While she waits, Yamori is in another room, where Nazuna promises to give him a kiss if he does a good job. Excited by the offer, he gets ready and walks in wearing a nurse cosplay outfit. As he starts massaging Kiyosumi, she tells him to go harder, and the thought of getting paid plus that kiss keeps him focused. Out of curiosity, she asks how old he is. When he tells her, she's surprised and asks why he's already working. Yamori explains that he needs money and that he stays up all night because he loves how peaceful it feels. Hearing that makes Kiyosumi think back to her school days when she used to sneak out late at night to grab snacks from a convenience store. She says she misses those simple times, then asks Yamori why he quit school. He says it just got boring, which makes her laugh. She admits she's also burned out from work and tired of pretending to be happy around her coworkers. Thinking about it all, she suddenly starts crying, saying she's sick of everything. Her phone rings in the middle of it. It's her boss calling late at night. Kiyosumi knows she has to go or risk losing her job. Seeing that, Yamori realizes she's a lot like him, trapped and tired. He tells her not to go back and insists she stay for the night since her session isn't done. To prove he means it, he calls Nazuna, who suddenly appears right through the wall, shocking Kiyosumi. When Yamori begs her to stop Kiyosumi from leaving, Nazuna agrees, then jokingly throws her straight out the window. Panicking, Yamori jumps after her, catching her midair, while Nazuna swoops in to lift them both. Once they land safely, Kiyosumi says she still has to return to work, because it's not like school, she can't just skip when her boss calls. Yamori then blurts out that Nazuna is a vampire, and that he wants to become one too, so he can enjoy the night forever. Kiyosumi thinks it's weird but starts laughing, her stress melting away. After spending some time flying with them and feeling the night breeze, she admits she can't keep doing that forever and decides to return to work. Before leaving, she thanks Yamori for cheering her up and says she feels much better. Yamori smiles and promises that when he finally becomes a vampire, he'll turn her into one too. Later, Nazuna teases him about that promise, reminding him that he doesn't even know when he'll become a vampire himself. Yamori laughs and says he'll figure it out after all. He's pretty popular with girls, and making Kiyosumi fall for him shouldn't be that hard. The following day, Yamori drops by Nazuna's apartment, and she tells him to come up with something exciting for them to do. After thinking for a bit, he suggests attending a midnight pool party. Nazuna agrees right away, and Yamori secretly can't wait to see her in a swimsuit. To his surprise, she shows up wearing casual clothes instead, yet somehow looks even more stunning than everyone else there. As Nazuna walks off to grab some drinks, every guy around starts staring at her. Yamori's mood changes the moment he notices two of them trying to flirt with her. When they ask if she's with someone, Nazuna admits she came with Yamori but jokes that he already left, then happily accepts their offer to buy her a drink. That's all it takes for Yamori's jealousy to hit the roof. Unable to take it anymore, he storms over and pulls her away from the group. Once outside, he tells her straight up that the whole party was boring and that he hated seeing every guy drooling over her. Seeing how serious he looks, Nazuna smiles softly and tells him to follow her. She takes him to another pool, the one at his old school, where it's just the two of them. Only a few minutes pass before Yamori's frustration disappears. He relaxes completely, acting like nothing ever happened. Eventually, Nazuna leans in to drink his blood again, and what happens next is available on Anime Hub, not here guys. Over the weekend, Yamori sneaks out again, hoping not to run into anyone from school. But to his surprise, someone calls out his name. It's Kiyosumi. She admits she's also trying to avoid meeting her coworkers or her boss. As a thank you for promising to turn her into a vampire someday, she buys him a drink, saying the thought of it makes her feel calm. After she leaves, Yamori feels strange because no one has ever given him a gift before. His thoughts fade when it suddenly starts raining. While taking cover, he notices a girl turning down a guy who was trying to flirt with her. She then waves at him, catching him completely off guard. Later, when he's about to have his drink, the same girl shows up. Her name is Siri. She's beautiful, which makes Yamori wonder why someone hot goddess like her would even want to talk to him. Siri explains that the man earlier offered her money to go out with him. Yamori feels bad, but she casually admits she actually wanted someone to hit on her. That guy just wasn't her type. As Yamori tries to process this, he accidentally glances at her chest. Instead of getting mad, Siri smirks and even opens her shirt a little, saying he might as well take a proper look. Embarrassed, Yamori turns away, but Siri grabs his drink and starts walking off, saying she's interested in him. Worried, Yamori follows her partly to get his drink back, partly to make sure she's okay. When they reach a quiet alley, Siri suddenly hugs him for caring about her and softly says his name even though he never told her. Before he can react, she leans in to bite him. But before she can, Nazuna bursts out of nowhere and tears her arm off. Shocked, Yamori realizes that Siri is actually a vampire. Siri mocks Nazuna for only feeding on one person and asks why she hasn't turned Yamori yet, reminding her that turning humans is against vampire rules. When Siri threatens to drain him completely, Nazuna loses her cool and beats her down. Just as things calm, another vampire named Kabura appears, grabs Yamori, and flies him away. She takes him to a room where 3 other female vampires are waiting. They greet him warmly, and as he looks around, Yamori can't help but notice one thing: every single vampire he's met so far is too hot, and he is unable to control his joystick. One of the vampires, Nico, catches Yamori's attention and tells him to choose any of them for full night. She warns that if he doesn't pick soon, they'll have to get rid of him since he already knows too much about their world. Without hesitation, Yamori says he chooses Nazuna, shocking everyone in the room. Nico can't believe he picked her over 4 hot vampires, while Midori laughs it off, confident she can still win him over since he's never been with anyone before. Feeling competitive, Nico decides to turn up her charm to make Yamori want her instead, but he compares her to Nazuna, which deeply offends her. The vampires reveal that they don't like Nazuna much because she refuses to seduce humans or turn them into vampires, something they believe is important for their kind to survive. Meanwhile, Nazuna finishes her fight with Siri and figures out what the other vampires are plotting. Siri is shocked when Nazuna admits that she actually plans to turn someone, and even more stunned when she finds out that person is Yamori. Back at the vampire meeting, Midori activates her seductive powers, certain she can make Yamori hers. But to her surprise, he rejects her like your crush rejects you, something no guy has ever done before. Another vampire, Hatsuka, warns Yamori to choose someone quickly or face death. That's when he surprises everyone by saying he's always wanted to become a vampire himself. At first, Nico thinks he's lying, but when he says he truly wants to fall in love with Nazuna, the whole room goes silent. Then, Nazuna suddenly appears, speechless for a moment. When she finally speaks, she tells Yamori to come with her, but Nico stops her, demanding an explanation. The others question how she plans to make him fall for her and realize she doesn't have a real plan. Seeing the opening, Kabura steps in and tries to seduce Yamori to figure out what makes him special. Before she can do anything, Nazuna threatens to kill her if she touches him. Nico quickly tells Nazuna to calm down, saying they only want to understand why she cares so much about Yamori, especially since she's never wanted to turn anyone before. Yamori then explains that Nazuna only likes him because his blood tastes good, and after meeting her, he genuinely wanted to become a vampire. Even after hearing that, Nico and the other vampires still demand to know Nazuna's true intentions, thinking she might be lying. Yamori tells them she agreed to let him fall in love with her first, but what really shocks them is how casually he talks about it, as if he has all the time in the world. When he notices their surprised faces and asks what's wrong, Nico tells him something he didn't know: if he doesn't become a vampire within 1 year, it'll never happen. Yamori freezes and turns to Nazuna, who awkwardly admits she forgot to mention that part so he wouldn't panic. To ease the tension, she kisses him and calls it payment for massaging Kiyosumi the other day before taking him away. On their way home, Yamori keeps thinking about everything that just happened and realizes he's in way deeper than he thought. Nazuna notices he's gone quiet and asks what's wrong, but he brushes it off, saying he's just glad he met her first. As the sun rises, Yamori confides in Akira, telling her everything, including the 1-year limit. Akira looks worried and tells him he's in serious danger. He only realizes how bad it is when she explains that if he doesn't turn within that year, the vampires will probably kill him. Terrified by the thought, Yamori starts panicking but feels a little better when Akira says she'll help him however she can. Later that morning, Akira heads to school, wondering if Yamori will really be okay. She remembers how smart he used to be in class and can't figure out why he's acting so clueless now. Lost in thought, she accidentally bumps into her old friend Mahiru, who's napping on the stairs. When she asks why he's sleeping there, he says he was out all night with a woman he likes. He admits she's older than him, since she finishes work late, which makes Akira thinks he loves his stepmom. Mahiru laughs it off and jokes that his sugar mommy is on another level. Before Akira can tease him back, he asks about Yamori, saying he's noticed he hasn't been coming to school and misses hanging out with both of them. Akira is stunned because, from her memory, the three of them barely hung out at all. Mahiru was always the popular kid surrounded by people, which is exactly why she and Yamori never got to spend much time with him back then or even now. Mahiru asks Akira to say hello to Yamori for him and says he has been thinking about him. As he leaves, Akira smiles, still amused by his crush on older women. Her mind drifts to grade school. She and Yamori once sat watching ants when Mahiru came over and asked Yamori to join his baseball team. Yamori said no at first because he didn't know how to play, but Mahiru offered to teach him, and he agreed. Now, in the present, Akira notices Mahiru looks worn out and wishes he could rest more. That evening, Yamori goes for a walk. Sari appears in front of him, and he tenses up, remembering their last run-in. He tries to leave, but she gently holds his arm and promises she won't hurt him. She asks for a small sip of his blood. Yamori refuses at once. Instead of pushing, Sari listens. Yamori says 1 year isn't enough time for him to become a vampire. He doesn't think he can make it. He also admits he still doesn't really understand love, so falling for someone on a deadline feels impossible. Sari stays quiet, seeing how worried and lost he is. While listening to him, Sari nearly gets a nosebleed because Yamori sounds so pure and clueless. Finding it adorable, she starts thinking of different ways he could make Nazuna fall for him. Later that night, Yamori shows up at Nazuna's place, begging her to go out with him. Without even thinking, she says no. Annoyed, Yamori complains that she always chooses video games instead of spending time with him. Nazuna shrugs and says it's because he isn't interesting enough. Yamori, refusing to give up, jokes that he'll grow an extra inch before night so she'll change her mind. That makes Nazuna laugh, and she finally agrees to go. During their movie date, Nazuna quickly gets bored and zones out. After a while, she realizes the whole thing wasn't even Yamori's idea, it was Sari's plan from the start. Yamori stays quiet, too nervous to admit the truth. As Nazuna flips through Yamori's list of date ideas, she quickly gets bored and tells him she's done for the night. Later, Yamori lies in bed, overthinking what went wrong, while Nazuna suddenly starts craving his blood and decides to pay him a visit. Around midnight, she shows up out of nowhere, drags him out to admire the night sky, and after a bit of flying, stops just to feed on him. The moment she's done drinking, she vanishes again, leaving him completely confused. While Yamori mutters to himself, wondering where she went, he spots Mahiru hanging out with a few friends. Panicking, he hides, but Mahiru notices him and calls him over anyway. They walk to a quiet place to talk, and Yamori is surprised that Mahiru still remembers him. Mahiru smiles and says they're friends, just like old times, and even brings up Akira, who is also part of their small circle. Back in school, Yamori always felt awkward around Akira, while Mahiru had no trouble getting along with everyone. His parents owned a flower shop, and he was basically the guy everyone liked. Now, Yamori finds it nice that Mahiru still considers him a friend. But before they can say more, Akira appears out of nowhere. Even though it's late at night, she's wide awake and immediately calls out Yamori for ditching school and hanging out with girls instead. She tries to get Mahiru to talk some sense into him, but he excuses himself, saying his lady friend is waiting for him. Meanwhile, Nazuna sits at a bar, sipping on beer, wondering what's keeping Yamori. When he finally shows up, she grabs his hand and starts walking with him through the quiet streets. At the same time, Sari sits alone, scrolling through endless messages from guys who keep hitting on her. She's tired of it all. Even the idea of turning one of them into a vampire doesn't appeal to her anymore. Then, she spots Yamori nearby and lights up, running toward him for a hug, but before she can reach him, Nazuna suddenly jumps in and kicks her away. Shocked, Yamori asks why she did that, and Nazuna casually says she was just protecting him. Claiming her leg moves on its own whenever she sees Sari's face. Yamori doesn't find that funny at all, but before he can say anything, both vampires start arguing and throwing punches over who gets to claim him for the night. After taking the loss, Sari walks off, telling Nazuna that she only meant to mess with Yamori a little. Watching her leave, Yamori notices something's off about her mood. Curious and concerned, he decides to go after her, leaving Nazuna behind. Somehow, the two end up at a karaoke place, where Sari vents about how annoying it is to have tons of guys constantly messaging her. To relax, she grabs the mic and starts singing. But Yamori can't relate to her taste in music. She's singing a new hit, while he only knows songs that came out before he was even born. That's when Sari realizes Yamori's life basically revolves around hanging out with Nazuna every night. She's about to tease him about it when a strange man named Akiyama starts banging on the door. His sudden shouting makes Yamori panic, but Sari stays calm. She already knows he's there for her. Akiyama keeps calling her name, begging her to hear him out. But Sari completely ignores him, while Yamori freaks out even more. When he asks why she's so calm, Sari casually explains that she's used to this since she has other obsessive stalkers too. Even so, Yamori can't relax as Akiyama keeps pounding on the door. Sari finally tells him to leave, and he reluctantly does. But as he's stepping out, Yamori stops to ask how she plans to deal with the guy. Sari shrugs and says she'll just kill him. At first, Yamori laughs, thinking she's joking, but when he sees her face, he realizes she's dead serious. He quickly begs her not to do it, calling out vampires for being so full of themselves. Sari fires back, saying humans are the real entitled ones, always judging vampires for taking lives when humans do it too. Their argument grows heated until Akiyama barges back in, assuming they're fighting over him. His expression turns dark, and Yamori instantly realizes the guy's not in his right mind. When Sari moves in to attack, Yamori jumps in and pulls Akiyama away just in time. As Sari prepares to strike again, Yamori drags the terrified man and bolts out of the room, trying to save them both from a bloody disaster. After running a few blocks, Yamori finally stops to catch his breath, while Akiyama looks more interested in figuring out what's going on between him and Sari. He bluntly asks if Yamori is sleeping with her or something, but the real shock comes when Akiyama admits he doesn't even know if Sari likes him at all. That's when it hits Yamori, maybe he has feelings for her too. When Akiyama agrees, Yamori nervously asks him to explain what being in love actually feels like. Akiyama shares his story. A few months back, he met Sari while drunk, and they ended up going on a date. Over time, they got close, but he started feeling empty whenever she wasn't around. Sari would flirt and tease him constantly, but he wanted something real. The more she pulled away, the more it hurt, and that's why he kept blowing up her phone with messages. Even now, he's confused about how she feels and worries she secretly talks badly about him behind his back. Yamori awkwardly confirms that might be true, but tries to comfort him. Before he can finish, Sari appears out of nowhere and tells Yamori to move aside. She plans to kill Akiyama. She calmly apologizes to Akiyama for toying with him and admits she's a vampire who seduces men, makes them fall for her, and then turns them. When she repeats that she's going to kill him, Yamori steps in and refuses to let her. Luckily, he had already signaled Nazuna using his watch. Just as Sari charges at them, Nazuna swoops in, beats her down, and warns her that if she even scratches Yamori, she'll end her on the spot. Sari insists she's only after Akiyama, but Nazuna asks why she wants to kill him in the first place. It's not like her to act that way. That's when Akiyama steps forward and takes the blame. He explains that they were just friends at first, and he wasn't supposed to fall for her. Siri agrees, saying she never wanted to turn him at all. She was tired of love and only opened up to Akiyama because he was someone she could actually talk to. But now, she wants to end things completely and pretend they never met. Yamori can't accept that. He shouts at her for being heartless and says she can't just abandon someone like Akiyama after everything. His words hit her hard, and she breaks down crying, saying she doesn't really want to lose him either. Hearing that, Akiyama finally confesses his feelings and begs Sari to turn him into a vampire so they can stay together forever. Sari, touched by his honesty, agrees. As she drinks his blood to complete the transformation, Nazuna teases Yamori for looking jealous, saying he probably wishes it were him instead. Afterward, Sari drags everyone to a karaoke bar to celebrate the start of her new romance with Akiyama. A few days later, Midori finds herself short on staff at her vampire-themed maid cafe. She starts searching for a replacement but refuses to hire anyone too attractive. She doesn't want competition for the male customers' attention. By chance, Nazuna drops by with Yamori, and Midori instantly decides she's perfect for the job. When Nazuna puts on the maid uniform, Midori realizes she looks surprisingly charming. Still, she feels confident she can easily outshine her and maybe even catch Yamori's attention while she's at it. But her plan flops fast. Yamori doesn't even notice her, instead staying focused on helping Nazuna learn how to serve customers. Midori pairs the two up, and Nazuna immediately struggles with her first few lines. But when she hears how much she'll earn, her energy flips completely. She dives into her role with intense enthusiasm, acting more dramatic than any normal maid should. While watching her, Yamori asks Midori how she became so popular at the cafe. Midori giggles and says it's all about her natural charm. To show off, she flirts with a random customer, and within seconds, the poor guy looks completely love-struck. Across the room, Yamori notices another maid named Ariza. She's elegant and soft-spoken, and he can't help but stare. When he mentions Midori, Arisa quickly tells him to just call her by her first name and keep her identity private. She quietly admits she used to be the top maid before Midori joined and still feels overshadowed by her beauty. Yamori insists that every maid there is beautiful, which makes Midori's playful kiss toward him completely lose its effect. After work ends, Nazuna gulps down a bottle of beer to unwind, while Midori scrolls through the cafe's social media. Suddenly, she spots something alarming. Someone has been secretly posting indecent photos of Arisa online. Shocked, she shows Yamori the pictures, and he instantly recognizes her. Surprised, Midori looks at him and asks how he could tell so easily, and after that FBI got him guys. Yamori says he figured out it was Arisa in the photo because he zoomed in and recognized her plot size. Sorry, I mean by hair color, something that makes Nazuna give him a weird look. Wanting to find out who took the pictures, Midori decides they need to catch the culprit fast, and Yamori offers to investigate. The next morning, he sits at the maid cafe, staring at the leaked photos for clues. It looks really suspicious, and just his luck, Arisa walks in while he's still studying them. The whole moment turns awkward. After things calm down, Arisa apologizes, saying she must have been careless and let someone take those photos. Yamori tells her not to blame herself, saying everyone slips up sometimes. He studies the room closely and notices the photos were taken from the angle of the window. When Arisa goes to change, he politely steps out and meets up with Nazuna outside. He explains what he's found so far and shows her the window. After checking, he's sure that's where the stalker stood, but since the door was always locked, he figures only a vampire could have done it. Nazuna first thinks Midori might be the one behind it, but Yamori reminds her that she was at the cafe the whole time. Just then, Arisa opens the window and spots them investigating. Nazuna tells her not to worry and lets Yamori continue. He takes a few test shots from the same spot and notices something doesn't match. Then, when he takes a picture of Nazuna, the result looks terrible, which makes him realize the leaked photos were too perfect to be normal. That's when he suddenly switches into detective mode, analyzing everything like a pro. Nazuna just watches, wondering how he suddenly got so smart, then realizes it's only because Arisa's pictures are involved. Feeling confident, Yamori asks her to gather all the staff after the evening shift since he's sure the culprit works there. But when everyone's together and waiting for answers, his confidence fades, just like you in front of your girlfriend in bedroom. Nervous, he admits to Midori that he might not be able to solve the case after all. Hearing footsteps approach, Yamori quickly tells Nazuna to follow their plan and then hides inside a locker with Midori. When Arisa walks into the room, Nazuna leaves, mentioning that she's the last maid still around. Inside the cramped locker, Yamori grows flustered because Midori's chest is pressed against him, making the situation even more awkward. Midori, annoyed, whispers why they're even hiding there in the first place. Yamori explains that the culprit is after Arisa, and this is their best chance to catch them in the act. As Midori leans closer to look at the photos, she suddenly feels something brush against her leg and gives him a look, reminding him that just a few days ago, she wasn't his type. Embarrassed, Yamori says he can't help it since she's pretty blessed, but he freezes the moment he hears the sound of a window creaking open. Both peek out and are stunned to find Arisa taking suggestive photos of herself. Confused, Yamori asks why she's doing that, but Midori immediately steps in with the answer. She explains that Arisa's been jealous of all the attention Midori gets from male customers. Out of frustration, Arisa leaked her own photos online to get noticed again and bring in more customers, even though it was a bad move. Surprisingly, Midori doesn't get mad and tells her it's fine because nobody's perfect. Still, Arisa feels embarrassed and says she wants to quit. Midori convinces her to stay, saying it's natural for girls to want attention and that some even make money from it. In the end, the two make up and settle their differences. Later, Midori chats with Yamori at the cafe, saying she loves taking cute pictures until they come out perfect. She strikes a pose for a selfie and drags Yamori into the shot with her. After working at the maid cafe for a few weeks, Nazuna finally buys herself a real bed and a few weird outfits. Yamori finds it funny but also impressive. She explains that working at the cafe made her realize how much she enjoys earning money, so she plans to restart her cuddle partner job to keep the income flowing. Yamori offers to help her find clients, and while they're walking, he bumps into a tired-looking woman named Anko. Thinking she'd be a great fit for Nazuna's service, he tries talking to her. But when she asks what's going on, he gets nervous and awkwardly ends up on an accidental date with her, explaining that his intentions are purely professional. However, when Anko hears about the cuddle job, her expression changes. She admits she thought he was flirting with her and says she actually wouldn't have minded since she's been lonely for a while. Then she snaps, reminding Yamori that it's illegal for someone his age to be working such late-night jobs. When Anko notices how tense Yamori looks, she chuckles and tells him to relax, she's not the police. At first, she turns down his offer to meet Nazuna for a cuddle session, but when he mentions that massages are part of the deal, her curiosity kicks in. Yamori, trying to keep the conversation going, asks what she does for work. With a smirk, Anko says she's a private detective. The answer stuns him since he didn't think real people had jobs like that outside of movies. She laughs and explains that she works on missing person cases and catches cheating lovers, teasing him by saying, "You'd be surprised how many losers I deal with every day." After a pause, Anko narrows her eyes and asks if Yamori is one of those guys who wanders around all night. He admits that he is, and she casually says she's searching for a missing man named Akiyama. The name instantly makes Yamori freeze. He knows that's Sari's boyfriend. Trying to cover it up, he nervously pretends he's never heard of him, but Anko isn't fooled. She suddenly grabs his wrist and leans in close, watching his reaction carefully. By feeling his pulse, she figures out that he's lying and clearly knows something. Yamori starts to panic, but Anko eventually loosens her grip, sighs, and apologizes for being too intense. Before walking off, she gives him a teasing smile and says, "Next time, try flirting with me properly. Maybe then I'll show you what dating a detective is really like." When Yamori gets back to Nazuna, she yells at him for not bringing in any new clients. To make up for it, he hands her a bottle of booze, which quickly cools her down. The next evening, Akira, Mahiru, and Yamori meet up, and Mahiru comes up with a wild idea to sneak into their school at night just for fun. Akira hesitates but decides to tag along since it sounds like a little adventure. Once they sneak inside, Mahiru starts talking about the school's 7 spooky rumors and says he wants to see if any of them are true. First, he checks the bathroom where a ghost girl is supposed to appear, but instead of finding a ghost, he ends up hitting his head trying to prank Akira. Then they move to the music room, where it's said that a piano plays by itself, and a few other haunted places. None of them turn out to be real. When they're about to leave, Mahiru remembers one last story about a teacher who disappeared 10 years ago and is said to show up at night. Curious, they go to check it out. But when Mahiru opens the classroom door, they freeze in shock. The missing teacher is right there. But something's off, his eyes glow red, and his skin looks pale. Before they can react, the teacher lunges at Akira, trying to bite her. Mahiru quickly jumps in to protect her and yells at Yamori to help. But Yamori just stands still, confused about why this vampire feels different from the others he's met. The teacher says he hasn't fed for 10 years and that they picked the worst time to show up. As Akira apologizes, Yamori finally grabs a chair and smashes it over the teacher, pulling her away to safety. While catching his breath, Yamori notices the teacher looks more hurt than angry, like he's struggling to stay in control. Suddenly, the man tells them to run away before he loses his mind completely. Just then, Anko walks in, calm as ever, and instead of being scared, she greets the vampire like an old friend. She even offers her neck, letting him feed on her. But after one sip, he pulls back and says her blood tastes terrible. Anko shrugs it off and turns to the group, explaining everything she knows about vampires. She reveals that the man really was their missing teacher, and because he refused to drink blood all these years, this night would have been his last alive. Yamori starts wondering why the teacher refused to drink blood for so long. That's when Anko asks him if he really thinks being a vampire is something worth wanting. The teacher then begins to open up, explaining that he once fell in love with a vampire who tricked him into turning. Ever since then, he's hated what he became. As he cries, Anko tries to comfort him, but then pulls out a special ring that burns vampires. She forces it into his hand, telling him to die as a human instead of a monster. Unable to escape, the teacher turns to ash when the first rays of sunlight hit him. The group stands frozen in disbelief, but Yamori finally snaps out of it and angrily asks Anko why she had to kill him like that. She grabs his shirt and coldly replies that the teacher was already dying. She only helped him find peace. She reminds Yamori that he doesn't really understand vampires and warns him that she's not there to support his dream of becoming one. Before leaving, she drops her business card and tells the 3 students to call her if they ever need help. That night, Yamori heads home, still shaken by everything. Lying in bed, he can't stop thinking about Anko's words. Meanwhile, Mahiru, now exhausted, passes out at Anko's office, also overwhelmed by what he's seen. Later, Yamori decides to visit Nazuna to clear his head. When he arrives, she's in a playful mood, but clearly starving, begging him for a little snack. He refuses, remembering how the teacher lost control, and Nazuna instantly realizes something's wrong. After hearing everything about the teacher's death, she assures Yamori she's nothing like him and suggests they take a walk to relax. While strolling, she casually explains that vampires die if they go 10 years without feeding. Then she asks about Anko, curious who she really is. Yamori admits that Anko knows he wants to become a vampire, which makes him nervous since she also knows how to kill them. Nazuna laughs it off, saying no human could ever kill a real vampire. But Yamori still insists he doesn't want her to get hurt. He apologizes for stopping her earlier and finally lets her drink until she's satisfied. Later that night, Mahiru says goodbye to his stepmommy, and Yamori can't help but sneak a peek at her plots. Even I am stop editing for 69 hours. When she catches him, he panics, and Mahiru just laughs, giving him a few pro tips on how to look without getting caught. While talking, Mahiru suddenly asks Yamori why he's so eager to become a vampire. He points out that as a human, Yamori is already free to live however he wants. He even reminds him that Akira could have been killed by one, so it doesn't make sense that he'd want to join their kind. Still, Mahiru says he's happy they're hanging out again like before, but he repeats the same question, what's his real reason for wanting to turn? Yamori freezes up. His mind goes completely blank, and the harder he thinks, the less sense it makes. If freedom was what he wanted, then he already has it. The thought messes with his head so badly that he just stares off into space. Seeing this, Mahiru tells him not to force it and to figure it out later. Later that night, Yamori goes to see Nazuna and hugs her right away. She instantly notices something's wrong. To shake off the tension, she suggests they hang out somewhere different, and they end up at Yamori's house. While snooping around, Nazuna starts looking for his hidden, adult magazines. But when she can't find any, she checks around for tissues or lotion instead. Between teasing him, she suddenly asks if he's having second thoughts about becoming a vampire. Yamori admits it's not as simple as he thought. He says being a vampire must come with its own problems, but as long as she's around, he doesn't mind. Deep down, though, he's worried that his choices might put his friends in danger. Nazuna's expression changes for a moment before she asks why he likes the night so much. He replies that it makes him feel free. Nazuna then tells him that once something becomes part of your routine, it eventually loses its excitement and even the night might feel dull one day. She confesses that being a vampire isn't always fun either. Living for decades can get boring, though she jokes that at least she's mastered video games. After a while, she decides to leave, but Yamori stops her, saying he hasn't turned off the lights yet. Somehow, they both end up sitting together on his bed. Just when Yamori expects a kiss, Nazuna grins, teases him a little, and disappears into the night like a ghost. The next day, Yamori finally decides to message Anko, and right away, she teases him for not flirting properly last time. He ignores her joke because he's not interested in that, and instead asks how much she actually knows about him. To his shock, Anko starts talking about his life in surprising detail, even mentioning some weird personal stuff that leaves him red-faced. When he tells her to stop, she laughs and says she was just guessing. Yamori changes the topic and asks why she hates vampires so much. Anko explains that humans and vampires can never live peacefully together. She calls vampires monsters and tells him that he probably can't become one anyway since he doesn't even understand love. Her mood suddenly turns serious as she says he might die because he knows too much about their kind. What scares Yamori most is when she mentions Nazuna by name, wondering why that vampire dragged him into this world in the first place. Hearing that, Yamori panics, but Anko forces him to choose live as a human or die as a vampire by her hand. Curious, he asks if she really knows how to kill vampires, and she confidently says yes, but refuses to explain how. Still, Yamori doesn't back down and says not all vampires are bad. Frustrated, Anko calls the police and reports a suspicious boy wandering around at night, forcing Yamori to run before they find him. He hides in a park until Hatsuka finds him. Meanwhile, at Nazuna's apartment, she gets bored of gaming and decides to visit some other vampires. Back at Hatsuka's place, Yamori follows her inside and is stunned to see two girls and a guy practically worshipping her. They're all in love with her and ready to do anything she asks. She casually tells them to leave since she has company. While she showers, Yamori sits thinking about what he saw. He figures those people must be waiting to become vampires, but something about Hatsuka still feels different. When she steps out of the shower, Yamori freezes. She's flat as surfboard. Then she casually drops the bomb. She's actually a guy. Yamori's brain almost explodes from shock, and Hatsuka just laughs, saying he thought Nazuna would have mentioned that part already. Yamori tells Hatsuka that Nazuna doesn't really share much with him. Hatsuka nods, saying that Nazuna has always been the type to avoid deep talks, but wonders if maybe the two of them are fighting. Meanwhile, Nazuna meets up with the other vampires and admits that Yamori might never turn into one of them. She apologizes for breaking their earlier agreement, but pleads with them to leave him alone, even if he stays human. Nico doesn't take it well. She slams her hand on the table, shattering it into pieces. Furious, she yells at Nazuna for showing up and making such a ridiculous request, even threatening to kill her right then and there. The other vampires, however, smirk and tell her to go ahead if she thinks she can win. Nazuna keeps her cool, reminding Nico that killing each other is forbidden among vampires. Instead, Nico suggests the easier solution: get rid of Yamori. That pushes Nazuna over the edge, and she snaps back that if anything happens to him, she'll break the rules herself and end Nico. The tension thickens as Nico demands to know what makes this human so special anyway. At the same time, back with Hatsuka, he's surprised to hear Yamori say he's not sure about becoming a vampire anymore. But he relaxes when Yamori explains that Anko recently killed one of their kind, which shook him up. Since Yamori doesn't know much about vampire life or how they can be destroyed, Hatsuka assures him that Nazuna isn't keeping secrets. Then Hatsuka remembers Nazuna once saying that Yamori's blood tasted really sweet, so he playfully asks to test it himself. Yamori instantly refuses, saying that's not his vibe. Laughing it off, Yamori asks why Hatsuka dresses like a girl, and he casually replies that it's because he's cute, plus, it helps him attract both guys and girls. Before Yamori can respond, Hatsuka's phone buzzes. He checks it and sees a notification saying that Nazuna is in a heated fight with Nico. His face goes serious as he realizes something bad might be about to happen. When Yamori learns what's going on, everything finally clicks. His life is in real danger, and Nazuna has been trying to protect him the whole time. Seeing how risky things are getting, Hatsuka suddenly says that he'll be the one to turn Yamori into a vampire instead. Confused, Yamori asks why, and Hatsuka explains that Nazuna isn't exactly the romantic type, so maybe things would work better between the two of them after all. They're both guys. Yamori stares at him like, bro, seriously? Even though part of him briefly wonders if it might actually work. He quickly rejects the idea, saying that his heart belongs to Nazuna. Hatsuka asks if it's just because of her gender, but Yamori replies that even if Hatsuka were a girl, he'd still choose Nazuna. Feeling relieved that Hatsuka isn't trying to harm him, Yamori thanks him and takes off to find her. When he reaches Nico, it's already too late. Nazuna is gone. What shocks him most is Nico saying that Nazuna won't be able to talk properly for a while. She reveals that Nazuna made a deal with the vampire group to keep Yamori safe. Furious, Yamori demands to know what kind of deal she made, but Nico refuses to say. Without wasting another second, he dashes out to find her himself. As he searches through the city, he's forced to stay low since the police are out patrolling. 2 officers spot him, but he escapes by jumping off a bridge and running into the dark streets. Meanwhile, Nazuna walks alone, wondering if Yamori is angry with her. She feels guilty for lying to him all this time. The truth is, she's never really known how to enjoy the night herself. While grabbing a drink from a vending machine, she suddenly hears a familiar voice teasing her, just like the first time they met. She turns around, shocked to see Yamori standing there. He tells her he's been searching the whole city for her, and relief washes over him seeing that she's safe. But Nazuna seems distant, so he quickly apologizes and opens up to her. He tells her that every night he spent with her has been the best part of his life, that she's the reason he enjoys the night at all. Hearing that, Nazuna finally breaks her cool act. She admits she's been pretending to be chill just to enjoy her time with him. But in truth, she's had more fun with him than she's ever had before. Before she can explain the deal she made with Nico, Yamori leans in and promises that he'll fall in love with her no matter what. The moment overwhelms her, and she ends up kissing him. Deep down, Nazuna realizes she wants to become the kind of vampire that Yamori could truly fall for. And with that kiss, that to their bedroom, where guys you and me can't go. So, that's it for today's video. Watch the following video and I will catch you in the next one.